What's up everyone, it's Tim from TimPlaysAGame with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild coming to Wii U in March 2017. It is shaping up to be the best Legend of Zelda game ever made, but this begs the question, what is the best Zelda game ever made? As you may know, the Legend of Zelda series has been in existence for almost 30 years. Whenever a new Zelda game is released, it is always momentous. It is the chance for us to explore a vast new world, a chance for an exciting adventure, and a chance for the hero in all of us to rise to the occasion and take down evil no matter what form it takes. Today we will be taking a look at the 10 best Legend of Zelda games available. For this list, we will not be including remakes of previously released Zelda games. We will also not be including spin-off Zelda games. This includes Hyrule Warriors, Link's Crossbow Training, and freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land. Anyway, let's get started. Number 10. Four Swords Adventures for the Game Boy Advance. For the longest time, the Legend of Zelda games were a single-player game. The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords for the Game Boy Advance broke this trend, allowing 4 players to battle through randomly designed dungeons, fight each other for rupees, and ultimately work together to save Princess Zelda in the Kingdom of Hyrule. This was definitely a unique Zelda game that encouraged players to work together in a cooperative adventure. The DSiWare download remake made this game even better by adding new stages and a single-player mode. Not to mention, you didn't have to use a link cable for the DSiWare version. Number 9. The Legend of Zelda for the NES. This was the original Legend of Zelda game released in America in 1987 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. For the time, this was a very unique game in that it let you explore a large world and discover the dungeons on your own. This is completely unlike modern Zelda games that direct you where to go and give you hints on how to progress. You literally have to use trial and error on all of this game just to get through it. This game was the original adventure game and is a template for what an adventure game should be. Number 8. Link's Awakening for the Game Boy. The Legend of Zelda's title for the Game Boy still astounds me that they were able to fit an entire Zelda game into a Game Boy cartridge. Like Link's Awakening gave us an amazing story with new and returning game mechanics. This game deserves a place in this list because the creators outdid themselves with this adventure. This game laid the groundwork for other great handheld adventure games. Number 7. A Link to the Past for the Super NES. Of all the 16-bit games that came out, A Link to the Past is considered to be one of the greatest. This game also set the framework for future Zelda games. This game added a unique element in the Sacred Realm, where you are transformed into a rabbit upon entering. You must travel between realms in order to make it through to the end, fight the final boss, and capture the Triforce. This was also the first game to feature the Master Sword, which has become a staple in almost every Zelda adventure. Number 6. Skyward Sword for the Nintendo Wii. This was the origin story of The Legend of Zelda, which explained a lot about why things are the way they are in the Zelda universe. This was also released in celebration of the 25th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda. This game used the Wii Remote's Wii Motion Plus to control the position of Link's sword and which direction he swung it. Some elements of this game were met with fan criticism, cell shading, control issues, and cliché quests, but this does not take away from the fact that this game was one of the most visually stunning games with one of the most epic stories ever told. Number 5. A Link Between Worlds for the Nintendo 3DS. Considered to be the true successor to A Link to the Past, A Link Between Worlds features a world similar to A Link to the Past with a new gaming element, merging onto walls. This game also featured a story that brought Link and Zelda together with their Bizarro World doubles. Another interesting mechanic in this game is the ability to rent or buy items to be used to help you instead of finding them in dungeons. To me, this kind of made more sense realistically than the bad guys hiding useful weapons in the dungeon that would ironically help the hero progress through it. A Link Between Worlds was also a nice callback to older Zelda games that featured the 3/4 top-down perspective. Number 4. Majora's Mask for the Nintendo 64. 3 days to save the world from an apocalypse? What is it about impending doom that makes a game so enjoyable? Much like how Ocarina of Time focused on the passage of time, Majora's Mask focuses on the passage of real time. In Majora's Mask, you basically have 54 minutes to defeat the final boss and win the game, of course with the aid of a magic ocarina that can take you back to the beginning. This new element added a sense of urgency to completing dungeons and tasks. This story in this game was also one of the most surreal and creepy in Zelda history. Number 3. Wind Waker for the Nintendo GameCube. Let no one say that cel shading and cartoon-style graphics take away from the amount of awesomeness of a game. Nintendo took a huge gamble publishing a game with graphics like this, and though players were initially appalled by this, they were able to get around these graphics because of this game's great story and great sea to explore. It also offered one of the most difficult final boss battles in Zelda history. Number 2. Twilight Princess for the Nintendo GameCube and the Nintendo Wii. After Wind Waker's release, players wanted a Zelda game with more realistic graphics. Their wish was granted with Twilight Princess that was released simultaneously for the Nintendo GameCube and Nintendo Wii systems. This was the most visually stunning game in the Zelda series, and the HD remake underlined this statement. The story is probably one of the darkest stories in the Zelda series, both figuratively and literally. But mostly this game is memorable for Midna, the least annoying sidekick character in Zelda history. Before we continue to number 1, I want to give a shout out to 2 games that I was not able to place on this list, but thought they deserve an honorable mention. The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Seasons for the Game Boy Color. Though they were developed by Capcom, the essence of a Zelda game was captured in not one but 2 excellent adventures that go hand in hand with one another. These games were 2 of the best for the Game Boy Color, and I thought that combining the 2 games with a linked password to unlock a secret ending was a fit of brilliance. If you have not played either of these titles, I strongly suggest downloading them from the Nintendo eShop on your Nintendo 3DS. And the number 1 best Legend of Zelda game? Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64. Where do I start with this one? First of all, it shows that The Legend of Zelda is one of the few game series that is able to make the transition from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional graphics without sacrificing the adventure atmosphere that we have been accustomed to in previous Zelda titles. Second, Ocarina of Time introduced game mechanics that are used in similar fashion in a lot of games we see today, such as Z-targeting, context-sensitive actions, and an amazing battle system. Third, time travel. Not a lot of stories use time travel effectively, or rationally even, but Ocarina of Time uses it well enough to keep you immersed and use critical thinking to progress through the game. Ocarina of Time was considered the perfect game for its time, and even today is regarded as a pinnacle in gaming history. And that will wrap up my list on the top 10 best Zelda games in the Legend of Zelda series. I am eager to know what you all thought of it. Did I leave off any games that you think deserve to make the list? Or did you think that a different game should have been given the number 1 spot? Please let me know in the comments section below. I'm Tim from TimPlaysAGame signing off, and good night.